Everybody, it's Bill, and this is the introduction to the 6th week of Design Thinking and Innovative Solutions. Last week we got through our stories, and I appreciate everybody's effort and the opportunity to learn more about all of you. And with that, we moved on to the next phase of the course, and that is putting your groups together and starting to look towards your opportunities. And again, I want to reiterate the thanks that I had in your patience, your flexibility in getting your groups together. And secondly, for your enthusiasm for all of your projects. I'm really looking forward to seeing those and having you match that enthusiasm with the excitement that I know a number of you have already seen with your key contacts. Now, one of the things that I hope to look forward to as you are learning this whole idea of user-centered design is your evolution from trying to get at solutions as quickly as possible to being able to sit and understand and be in the problem as an impartial observer. Because human-centered design, as we've learned and are learning, is all about the user's experience. That means that it is not about your experience, your ideas, and maybe even your biases. And what's really hard when you first start to learn this is how you can eliminate that from these conversations that you want to have so that you are ensuring that you can get as authentic and as vulnerable a response from your interviewees as possible and get a full, clear view of that 360-degree experience that they're having. And so there's a few ways that you can do that and some things that you can watch. If you have a 30-minute interview with somebody, after your introductions, 25 of those 30 minutes should be of your interviewee talking, answering questions, giving their ideas, riffing, following them where they go. And your role is to make sure that they are answering the questions that you want to know, but also that they are telling you everything that they want you to know, which is why it's really important that you record and write down everything that they say, or you take advantage of the medium and actually record what they're saying on Zoom. Some things to watch while you're in those meetings. If you find yourself saying, I think, or I did, or telling a story about something that you did that's similar, you have now moved away from your user's perspective to yours. That is a very difficult distinction to learn when you're first being part of this process. And one of the things that I want to bring up, and certainly why we address this concept of power before we start your interviews, is that in a lot of populations and with a lot of groups, by you saying what you think or what your experiences are, you may be unconsciously judging theirs. And don't forget, judgment goes both ways, negative or positive. And you also might be introducing your bias to an idea or a solution that you already have going in. And if you understand that most people want to be helpful and that most people want to get positive feedback, understand too that if you start talking about your experiences, people may start to tell you what they think you want to hear. And that immediately creates a power dynamic over, right? So I hope that you'll continue to pay attention to that as you continue your meetings and continue to learn how to develop and flex the muscle of listening and staying in the problem and focused on your users. Now, as you have these meetings with your key contacts, you're starting to understand the opportunity and what needs still exist. Those are the gaps in the knowledge that might help provide a solution in the future. Again, we want to be very careful that we don't jump to the solution now. Anytime that you're suggesting a solution, your conversation goes from expansive to really narrow, where you're just talking about one little thing that is your idea in an instant, right? So we want to be evaluating the gaps, and that gets us into this week's content with the impact gap analysis that we're going to be working on. And so one of the goals of the impact gap analysis is to avoid redundancy and make sure that the resources that you're using are going to have the maximum impact, and they will if you're addressing a novel problem or a novel piece of a problem. That could be asking a different question, or that could be asking a similar question to a different set of people, like students rather than faculty. And so it's really important to do that, because the tendency is to try to do everything yourself and almost kind of be the hero. And if you look at the video by Dr. Thornton that describes the impact gap analysis, what we're actually trying to do is make the biggest impact by finding the gap that exists and get back to that original definition of what social entrepreneurship is, which is addressing systems that are causing problems. And we've had a discussion about this last week when we were talking about power and the different structures of power. So if we're looking at a systematic change, another way to say that is we're looking at structural change, and you understand certainly what all of those are: political, economic, social, and cultural, right? So it's something for you to start to look at. I'm really excited to see some of the meetings and some of the interactions that you're starting to have, and how these ideas are coming together. You're going to have an opportunity to make a big difference and an impact on your university. And I look forward to seeing you and working with you on these a little bit more this week. Have a good weekend.